Tom, I know we've been working on rolling out PEO Exit and exploring those options for our clients. What is PEO Exit?
PEO Exit is an extension of PEO Spectrum's free services to our clients, right? We do all this work for free. And essentially what we're going to do is help them understand, is a PEO still the best option for us? Now, essentially, we're including non-PEO options in that competitive mix of vendors that we're considering for a client. And so that we can really see, is the PEO still the best solution for this company's health insurance? Is the PEO still the best solution for workers' comp? And I think where it really gets interesting is when it's a hybrid of the two.
What we're seeing is that, groups that are becoming large on their own, they're no longer in small group market. They can get a standalone on the large group. Yep. And it's competitive versus what they have under the PEO, or the opposite, that they're, too small and they really don't need all of these services. The benefit side is not a driving factor anymore because of their utilization within the benefits. And it's still a question, why am I using a PEO? So my question to you is, where do we draw the line of, does a full PEO exit make sense? Should we consider a partial PEO exit? And what does that look like for the client?
Yeah, sometimes it's very sudden, right? Clients working with the PEO, everything, they're happy, everything's okay. And suddenly they get a 30% insurance increase. But the company is not always prepared to jump through the hoop of leaving the PEO within 90 days because they got their health insurance increase. They could be having their best sales year ever. They could be expanding, right? There could be a ton of things going on at that company where it's like, no, we don't want to have a 30% health insurance increase. And no, we don't want to leave the whole PEO model altogether and our payroll taxes restart. So I think that's where these hybrid solutions really gain a lot of ground, is we say, let's remain with the PEO, we'll carve out your benefits, and now the question becomes, how good is your PEO at accommodating that carve out? I think that's kind of the most interesting part of the PEO exit is finding those hybrid solutions where the company could still benefit from the overall structure of the PEO, still get help with HR, not have to disrupt not have to retrain on everybody on how to run new payrolls with a new vendor, but they don't have to eat that 30% increase.
So to take it a step further, right? So let's say the benefits make sense outside of a PEO. And then the question becomes, are you with a provider that's scalable, right? Maybe this year, a hybrid PEO solution makes sense, but next year ASO might make more sense. And, in 5 years from now, we can completely pull it out altogether. Well, what are some of the differences that you're seeing on this hybrid PEO carve out versus, an ASO or administrative services only model? And what are some of the pros and cons?
Sure. So where could it go wrong? Well, you can make that knee-jerk reaction, leave your PEO altogether. You go find a payroll company, right? And you say, oh, wow, we're going to start saving a lot of money. We're going to use a payroll company. We got our benefits. They're cheaper than the PEO. We got workers' comp, and that's kind of, even playing field with the PEO. What could possibly go wrong? Well, if you didn't time it properly, you could have payroll tax restarts, and that could wipe out all the savings you thought you were going to obtain by leaving the PEO. So that's first and foremost. You have to have some planning with that. You may go to the open market for your health insurance, and then next year you're dealing with the 30% increase again. And so you have to be ready for that possibility. You have to plan for that. I think a lot of the times what PEO customers find when they leave a PEO is that, yes, we can find all of these vendors, but they're not integrated anymore. Having one party to turn to and say, we have an issue, just give me the solution of how it gets done. I don't care about whose fault it is. I think that's a really big value add for a small business to have, especially when you're in the middle of a crisis. I think from PEO Spectrum standpoint, where do we really add value is in finding that PEO, like a lot of the times a PEO exit scenario is they leave the PEO that is giving them the 30% increase. They find another PEO that is very similar from a tech standpoint, from a service standpoint, but that new PEO is very willing and very able to accommodate that carved out benefit policy. And the employees will essentially experience no operational difference in how it's maintained.
There's so many lines of coverage rolled up under the PEO. We really need to take that service list that the PEO is currently providing for a client and unbundle it. And most of the time that entails looking at a multitude of vendors and utilizing our in-house cost spreadsheet to essentially reestablish all of those lines of coverage and see that it makes sense for the client moving forward, right? Benefits is a major portion of it, but the rest needs to make sense also, right?
Yeah.
We need to look at the complete picture of the PEO exit and what does that look like from a financial standpoint. So working with our clients to really reestablish those lines of coverage can be an interesting task.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and I think there's really like two types of PEO exit engagements. There's the reactive engagement, where the client comes to us and says, I just got a 30% health insurance increase from my PEO. I got a notice of non-renewal. I got a termination notice. Essentially, the PEO doesn't really want our business anymore, and I've got 30, 60, or 90 days to find a solution. And so we're kind of in a fire drill scenario. We're finding options as quickly as possible. A lot of the times we're going back to our comfort zones of the vendors that we know who have done this before, and we could just find next day solution for the client, kind of stop the bleeding, and then we'll look at it again next year. And then I think there is the proactive PEO exit engagement where maybe the company is growing rapidly. Now they're 85 employees, and they know in the next year they're forecasted to be over 100. So now they know they're going to be shopping in a different insurance market with different regulations and different underwriting. And so our job is to go out there and just kind of give them a crystal ball. What will it look like financially, at the very least, to leave the PEO model? What will our benefits cost out there? What will our workers' comp cost out there? What will it cost to find the other replacement vendors? Or the flip side, they're contracting. We're going to go from, we're selling off a part of the business and it's just going to be 5 employees here with 5 partners, and we certainly don't really need, all of the HR infrastructure anymore. Just make sure we get paid, make sure we have health insurance, and we're ready to run our small business. So PEO exit is fairly new. We've been doing it for a while, but we've decided that it's time to kind of brand it and bring in, really just kind of galvanize the value proposition. What are you hearing from clients who are experiencing a PEO exit of some sort?
Yeah, so lots of great feedback from our clients. I mean, from day one, we really have a hand-holding experience, whether they're going through our PEO comparison, considering PEO exit. They're working with a senior consultant throughout the entire process who is vetting out all the different options, right? We're looking at PEO, we're looking at a multitude of carrier options on standalone policies. We're creating a comprehensive analysis and going through line by line with the client. We are taking the next steps of, making introductions, sitting on these calls with the client to really probe any questions that should be asked, and, sitting in a consultative aspect to help the client with whatever they need throughout this diligence process.
Well, thank you for your time. It's been really helpful and really meaningful, and hopefully, some of the people that are out there watching get more context on why a PEO exit is relevant. And how it gets executed, and how there's actually people out there thinking about this, and how we can help them get out of their, whatever situation they're in.